to the Warzone Amateur Hour podcast.
All right, welcome back to the Warzone Amateur Hour podcast, episode number 62. The Tron and the TenInchCowboy have getting back in their groove in the Warzone, particularly on Rebirth Island, locking and loading and dropping and exploding, so to speak. Not a ton of news this week, but certainly lots for us to dive deep into because that's what we do here on the podcast. Go beneath the surface, reveal what's lingering, underneath the waters. But before we kind of get into some of that, I'm going to ask the 10-inch how was your week in the Warzone?
Well, thank you for that introduction. Yeah, I was just thinking, you know what? You're right. We may not have the expertise or advanced gameplay knowledge to give you tips that are going to make you be a better player, but we will certainly peel back the curtain and discuss the greater situations of Warzone, which we are, I'd like to think, pretty good at. 62 episodes in, hoping that we're pretty good at that. But my week was good, a weird week with flying cars, and it seems like everybody now is playing Rebirth, and it's a lot, and I died a lot. The lobbies are very sweaty. But other than that, it was a good week. How was your week in the Warzone?
My week was not a ton of experience, not a ton of quantity, but certainly quite a bit of quality, though, as you alluded to. I haven't been playing Caldera, so I can't testify to the sweat level of that, but the average sweat level of Rebirth right now is like legitimately feel like I'm playing in lobbies dominated by streamers, like drop shotting, duck shotting, jump shotting, fucking sliding, this, that, and the other, like insane people I'm going up against. And I'm like, what is going on here? We're trying different servers, different hosts, all that shebangers. None of it seems to happen. But that said, we still managed to get quite a few wins this week, which, I don't know what that speaks to, but certainly our grittiness and, not giving up. So chalk went up for the amateurs. We got some wins there despite that.
Yeah, I think a lot of that comes down to who we play with. Just so happens some of the people we play regularly with are really good at the game. They are sweat lords. I remember this week I dropped in with a couple of friends, and their goal was they were shooting for 20 bomb games. They were shooting for 20 kill games, and I was not doing that or going for that. Double digits for me would be fantastic. So yeah, it seems that it's gotten sweatier, but we've been getting some wins, but it's also because we play with people that are, absolute sweats.
Yeah, it's kind of been an interesting situation where, I'll play several games off the rip, and it's like demoralizing, literally saying, fuck this game, I'm quitting, the podcast is over, I'm never playing again, and then just when I'm ready to give up, we managed to eke out a win. Some of them, though, aren't even, enjoyable. They're just so scrappy, we're able to kind of use our knowledge and experience on Rebirth and Final Circles to kind of scratch and claw our ways to victory.
It's like the psychology of a casino, right? Where they want to take everything from you, but they want to give you just enough so you stick around. That's kind of where we're at.
Certainly nearing rock bottom, but yes, just when I got that final token in the slot machine, I get the 3 cherries across the way. I get a few more free plays, keep me coming back.
Yeah, it's we should talk to somebody, really. It sounds like an addiction.
I don't know the phone number, but I'm going to Google it after the show. That said, let's dive into as something you alluded to that was kind of plaguing Warzone this week. Pretty bizarre, especially, since the introduction of this Ricochet anti-cheat, but somehow, some way, these hacking scumbags, I guess in a way this is somewhat entertaining, found a way to hack to where they had flying cars that would hover, in the sky above Verdansk and then kind of aimbot shoot people around the map. There was clips all over Twitter, all over the internet, all over the Warzone community. I'm not sure how something like this happened. Did you happen to see, though, some of this Harry Potter style flying car action?
That's a great way to describe it. It really was a Harry Potter style situation. I didn't have any firsthand experience in game playing against these cheaters, mostly because I wasn't playing that much Caldera. This wasn't happening on Rebirth. It was just on Caldera, right?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, so I saw streamers, some of the bigger streamers, I think Tim the Tatman had this happen to him and they were viewing it, and maybe I'm in a doctor disrespect as well. Definitely saw Tim the Tatman with this. It's like I don't know how else to put this. It's like, if you have an aimbot on, there's a subtle nature to that where it's not, you have to watch and decide, is this guy cheating or is this guy not cheating? Well, when you're flying around on a quad, hundreds of feet above the air and you're shooting people from the sky, it's so absurd. It's how do they not fix this so quickly? It's just crazy to me, right? They took it to such a crazy degree. It went from 0 to 100 on the cheating scale really quick.
Ricochet, it rooted out the subtle aimbotters, I forget some of the other terms they have, soft aimbotting.
Wall hackers, yeah.
Yeah, and just went straight to, get the ambiguity right out of the way. Is this guy, oh yeah, he's in a fucking flying car, he's cheating. But they've issued a patch this week. I'm unsure, cannot confirm or disconfirm whether or not that has been fixed, but just kind of wild going on there, making a mockery of the Ricochet anti-cheat. I feel like we kind of suspected we did encounter some cheaters this week on Rebirth, though. Don't know if we really had any confirmations. Obviously, nothing as egregious as flying cars, but
we'll agree that they were cheaters. Usually, when I die, it's at the hand of someone who's blatantly cheating.
Certainly so. But that said, as I said, there was a patch issued on Thursday. I believe it was January 26th. Very, very minor patch here. A little brush stroke here or there. But fortunately, if you have an Xbox, one of those console players, you'll be glad to see this, because from what I've heard, the consoles have just been getting kind of shit on with issues here since this new Vanguard action's been happening, especially Xbox players. Well, they fixed an issue where you press the Xbox home button twice, and I think it used to crash. Now that's been fixed, so you can go ahead and push that Xbox button twice now. Hopefully you'll be all right. They also fixed an issue that would cause players into, this is their words, a bottomless pit of despair when attempting to take a dip in the pool on Caldera. And then finally, they fixed an issue.
Whoa. Okay. What? Wait, so if you go into a pool on Caldera, you fall into a bottomless pit of despair? Is that what we got stuck in those rocks that one time?
No, that wasn't a pool. It was certainly some sort of pit, I guess, of despair, of frustration, of amateur.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. It's I'm sure it's the same style thing. You get stuck and you're fucked, basically.
Yeah, I think in that, and I believe the pools are at resorts, but they fixed that issue.
Okay.
And the final fix is apparently there was an issue where the second loadout event would just not happen in the Battle Royale modes. You just wouldn't have that second loadout that comes towards the end of the game. So they fixed that. Other than that, no weapons tuning, no new stuff happening. As we said, Season 2 has been delayed for another few weeks here. So interesting, and people are kind of wow, they're not really giving a ton of attention to Warzone. Why could that be? And we maybe got some answers to that coming up. But before I kind of pull the curtain on that big reveal, any thoughts on these patches here?
I didn't realize that there was a bottomless pit of despair in the pools on Caldera, so that's good that they fixed that. I think we had some bottomless pit action, maybe a month ago it was, you and I getting stuck in that crevice, so that's cool. That's always really frustrating, especially when you can't kill yourself and you just have to either leave the game or wait for the gas to kill you. I didn't realize also not playing Caldera all that much this week, didn't realize that the second loadouts weren't coming in. That must have been really frustrating when you have to wait so long for the first loadouts, really cucking you there on your loadout situation. But yeah, it's good that they have. I don't have an Xbox, so I didn't realize there was also some instability double tapping it, but I'm sure Microsoft will now fix that, assuming that they're paying attention to this game and now that they own this game. So, no, other than those thoughts, nothing really on these patch notes.
Yeah, I gotta say, I know certainly we're a team that'll often be, not in the games fully, so to speak, in those late loadouts. It's usually a time where we'll be redeployed And we would have been like, oh, I'll just float for this second loadout, and would have just been fucking floating there waiting for nothing to happen.
Sniped out of the sky for sure. Or who knows, maybe ran over by a flying car.
Maybe. But that said, last week, we touched on the big news about Microsoft taking over Xbox acquiring Activision Blizzard. What could that mean? Well, the publication Bloomberg this week published a very big feature on outlining kind of, and again, it's sourced. I gotta believe it's reliable. I think Bloomberg's pretty good for this type of stuff, but some interesting bits of information and another bombshell buried in there too. But it's on kind of the future of what they have in mind, Microsoft, with now this acquisition. Looking forward, the article itself is behind a paywall. So if y'all, got the Bloomberg, maybe share the full one with us. But the high-level details are that Microsoft is reportedly committed to releasing Call of Duty on PlayStation through at least 2023. But they said after that, it's not clear what Microsoft plans to do.
So, I mean, that's good news for now, right? I mean, that's another year or two. 2 years.
Well, I believe kind of as we touched on last week, Phil Spencer said, he'll honor the existing agreements. I think that existing agreement with PlayStation goes until 2023. So maybe not news, but murking the waters there a little bit that they're kind of saying it's unclear. The other thing that was laid out in the article, which some people had speculated was going to be happening, is that, as it stands now, Call of Duty, a new one of those fuckers comes out every single year. It's a yearly release standalone game. Well, that might be changing after 2023. They might now move to multi-year releases. Any thoughts on that?
Multi-year releases being like not once a year, but say one every 2 years or 3 years or whatever. They slow it down.
Yup.
Well, what does that mean for Warzone? Does that mean that we are not going to be seeing these big integrations yearly? Because I know we had Black Ops, and then we had Warzone. I'm sorry, Vanguard, and now it's basically like, what does that mean for 2022? Is there not another one coming, or past 2023? There's not going to be necessarily another one coming.
So yes, this is speculating past 2023 because to lay out kind of the yearly releases in the Warzone era, it was Modern Warfare 2019. Then it was Black Ops Cold War in 2020. Then we had Call of Duty Vanguard in 2021. And then this year, 2022, we have a new Modern Warfare game coming out. No details exactly on the title or, if it's going to just be some weird Modern Warfare 2, even though there already was a fucking Modern Warfare 2. But so, yes, they're kind of looking at, might move to multi-year releases. And in terms of my thoughts, and it seems like a lot of the community, people are supportive of this because to me, like, you put out a new game every year, how much evolution, how much time can you really invest in that when, 6 months after it's released, you already got your team working on the new one? Like, to me, it's goes back to kind of like we talked about with our Warzone experience this week, like quality over quantity, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, the attention to detail is what makes people love this game. So when they stop paying attention to detail, it becomes frustrating when the game isn't in a good place. So yeah, I think it's great. That's interesting. I feel like it was just yesterday we got Vanguard, but I feel like I'm already ready for the next one. But I don't know when that's going to happen. I mean, and that also, I'm sure, it's like how much money do you invest into this game if you're Microsoft now? Like do you what is next for Warzone, which I think tees up the next point of this article.
Yes, it does. But before we move on, the final quote here in the article is Microsoft said it expects the acquisition to close sometime in the next 6 to 18 months, after which it will be able to decide whether to continue releasing future Call of Duty games on PlayStation. Top employees at Activision have also discussed, as we said, spacing out Call of Duty releases rather than putting them out yearly.
So wait a second, the acquisition is going to take another 6 to 18 months?
Yeah, they got to iron that out. I mean, it's possible this merger gets looked at by the SEC. They say, hey, this is somewhat of a fucking monopoly. Break them up.
Oh, I see. Okay, well, I thought this was like signed, sealed, delivered. I thought this was over.
I mean, I'd imagine it is. The SEC was already asked about it. They haven't commented. I expect it's going to go through. But, these things take a while. These guys that you said are popping champagne, they got to figure out how many fucking zeros to add to their paycheck while the poor bastards making the games get nothing.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
That's not what we're talking about. Let's move on.
Let's move on to the big bombshell, which I texted you about when it came out, and I could feel your head exploding through the phone. I honestly next time wish I would have kept it secret so I could have revealed it on the podcast to hear your reaction live. But let's kind of like imagine we're in that headspace. Let's go through it live. The big bombshell from this story that Bloomberg put out is that the Modern Warfare game is next, but also in development at this time is Warzone 2, they're calling it.
Yes, I remember the text message. I think you sent it to me very early one morning, and I woke up to it and was confused. I wasn't sure if that meant that it's coming now or if it's coming later. But yeah, I had a lot of question. Like, mostly my main question was, what does this mean? What do you mean there's a Warzone 2? And you said it's literally that. It's the next Warzone. But yeah, can you explain? Because I was confused. I think everyone's going to be confused when they hear Warzone 2.
Yes, the new information was splashed upon the face of the cowboy early in the morning, jarring him awake. As often is the case, he was confused. He wanted me to explain what it means. And first off, it's slated for 2023. So we're looking at a new Warzone 2 next year, which, to tie it back to what we talked about, we haven't been seeing a ton of innovation, a ton of investment in the current Warzone. We have never seen the fucking next-gen version that they alluded to. And now we get this information that they've been covertly working on a brand new iteration of Warzone. In terms of what it means, there's no definitive news, but those who are kind of tapped into Activision and into Warzone and development, one of these individuals, his name is Tom Henderson. I don't know his credentials or anything like that, but he sounds legit. He said Warzone 2 is literally that. Warzone 2. It's going to mean that current gen and PC only. So that means PS5, brand new Xbox. I still, for the life of me, can't remember the name of the newest Xbox, Series 1 or something like that. And PC only. So if you have a PS4, if you have the old Xbox, you're not going to be able to get in the game here. So it's going to be a next-gen native game.
Got it. So I would imagine that means it's going to look good. It's going to be a good, it's all, we're talking top tier, top shelf, next generation graphics, visuals, movement. Like, you have to have a certain level of technology to play this bad boy.
That's what it's sounding like. And that, to me, that's exciting. Like, let's raise the level. So obviously they're not going to be building it on the same engine as the existing Warzone. It's going to be a brand new engine. As we said, next-gen native, so then we got to imagine for fucking finally going to get an FOV slider for console. But yes,
I doubt it.
A new game for better hardware, so, maybe even we push the, refresh rate, stuff like that. Although I'm playing in the 4K 120 hertz, as we said, but I don't know if it's really that stable. But the other big news here, which ties back to an existential question we've been asking on this podcast over and over again as we've seen the arsenal bloat, the number of guns and the different, sets of fucking games, 10 attachments, 5 attachments, Cold War guns, Modern Warfare guns, Vanguard guns. Well, this same individual, Tom Henderson, said no past weapon integration is going to occur. They're going to have a completely new game, wipe all the weapons off the table, and start anew.
Where is this information coming from? How, if this game is in development, obviously it's very early on in development. How do they know this? They must have an inside horse, huh?
I mean, in the end, game development, everything's humans. Humans that talk. Humans that informally drop tidbits of information to one another. They'll go off the record. They'll say, hey, we're fucking working on a new Warzone. This is how it's going to be. And, you don't burn your source, then you're going to get more information down the line. I'm going to look up this individual now about what his, credentials are. I believe he's like a gaming media person. But
it'd be nice if any of these people want to come on this podcast and maybe, be the source of truth. And, we're open to that. Like, we're open to discussing this with, we will out your sources. We that's part of what we do. We're very transparent here. So be ready for that as well.
Yeah, God, we would love that. So please, give us the inside source. We'll put you on a pedestal. We'll get you featured on here. We'll drive the viewers, the amateurs, to your sites. But this individual's bio here on Twitter, he's a journalist. He says, I tweet about video games. He's a freelance writer at various sites. Looking through his timeline, I see tons of tidbits of kind of scoops about Call of Duty. He claims Modern Warfare 2 is already in alpha. He's talking about, again, the new Warzone, new kind of information. So it sounds like he's got some sources in the community, in the development circle of friends. And they're kind of teasing out this information. And I mean, to me, it makes sense. Like, that's because we've talked about, what about the blueprints? People have paid for it. Well, if it's a brand new Warzone, it's kind of like, sorry, this is a new game. Your old blueprints still work with the old Warzone until that goes away. But if you want to play the new Warzone, you got to start anew, got to buy the new weapons. Can't have fucking 5 versions of the AK-47 forever.
Does this nerd report on anything other than video games or Call of Duty?
He reports on other games, but
got it.
Just video games.
Well, he sounds legit. Okay, well, it's happening. Warzone 2, 2023, new weapons. Curious, like, I mean, I haven't been around for a lot of, second, like, I don't want to call it generation, but whatever, like the next iteration of a game. And I'm wondering how much can change. It's, okay, they're upgrading it for like the current, gen consoles and PC, but like what actually changes? Yeah, they're like new guns. I feel like this game has been so flushed out. I'm just curious, like what, a new map would be great, but what else? It's kind of the same, it's going to be the same battle royale experience, I would imagine.
I don't know, but I'm the type of guy, when I hear something like this, I can't even like focus on the existing Warzone. All I'm doing is daydreaming about new Warzone and how cool it's going to be. Like, the graphics, we're going to get a brand new map. You got to imagine there's going to be new mechanics. There's got to be a lot of new shit, like, to justify a brand new Warzone. And for me, starting anew with brand new guns, maybe it's only like 20 or something like that to me is incredibly exciting. Like, discovering maybe they take hopefully new approaches, like the Kar 98's no longer just the fucking sniper. Maybe some of these other guns that have been, long ignored, or old favorites like the Scar used to be really good in older Call of Duties. Maybe they bring that back or something like that. I don't know. But in terms of J-God, he's theorizing that when Warzone 2 drops, he thinks every gun that came before will be gone, and the only usable guns will be from the new Modern Warfare 2 weapons pool.
Interesting. Wait, they'll only be from the modern weapon. Yeah. Wait, that's the same thing Tom Henderson's saying, right?
Well, he didn't. He never said like what the new weapons would be drawn from. Whereas J-God is imagining, since by the time 2023 rolls around, the newest Call of Duty out on the market will be Modern Warfare 2, the new Modern Warfare, which coming out later this year. So J-God's assuming they'll just carry those guns. Those will be the only ones coming over. Whereas it's possible, though, they just introduce like Warzone specific guns. I don't know. There's just so much possibility, so much potential with this news.
Let's just hope that those Modern Warfare 2 weapons in that pool are balanced, not broken, and sweet,
I agree. And like, maybe we get back to our good old M13.
You would love that, wouldn't you? You would love to go back to a nice, clean, maybe even 3 attachment. I was going to say 5 attachment, but a 3 attachment, just a very simple M13, completely balanced, works at short range, works at long range. That's all you want.
Oh, well, there's so much there. Yeah. Like, I got to say, when I first got on Warzone, I was torn between the M4A1 and the M13, and I opted for the M4A1. I don't know why, but that's one of my big regrets, like wish I could turn back the clock, adopt that M13 a bit earlier. I was a late joiner to that. But then, yeah, on top of that, oh my God, if they if they get rid of this stupid 10 attachment thing, and that's just a thing we don't ever talk about, like they did it once, never speak of it again. We're back to the pick 5. Like, God, please.
Yeah, I think the biggest bummer about the 10 attachment is, and we find this all the time, like if I want to know what the build is for my Cooper Carbine sniper support, and I'm asking a buddy I'm playing with, you literally have to pull out of the game to get her done. You can't do it in a pregame lobby. There's not enough time. It's just like, it makes it so much more complicated. It's such a pain in the ass.
I mean, we alluded to it too when we learned about this whole 10 attachment things. We're like, oh, now when you hear a recommended build, it's going to take you, 5 minutes. And it's literally that. Like, I remember just this week, like you're talking about, you're like, hey, Smeeden, what's your Cooper Carbine sniper build? We're in the thing's counting down. He's reading one at a time. He gets like 4 attachments in. And then it's like, well, only 6 more to go next time.
Sucks, dude. It sucks.
It's too much, man. Come on.
It's a pain. It's a pain in the butt.
It's not doing what it should. But that said, yes, Warzone 2, rumored, not confirmed yet, but you got to believe this is 99% true. If there was ever a story we're going to be tracking here on the Warzone Amateur Hour, it's going to be all the news and little tidbits we get from that. It seems like the leaks in the Call of Duty community most often turn out to be true, so might have to start subscribing to some of these leaker accounts, get some, some fresh little crumbs to gobble up and share with y'all on a weekly basis.
Yeah, maybe it's just some good gossip. Maybe we should get into the Warzone gossip business. Is there any kind of juicy, gossipy, shit going down?
Just this Microsoft, acquisition in the future on PlayStation. And then, what Warzone 2 is going to entail. But no, rumors are out there that other than the like we said, spacing out the releases. But
I'm talking about some more juicy stuff. That's pretty dry reading PR releases. I'm talking about streamers hating each other, fights breaking out, some really juicy affairs, shit like that. Can we inject any of that into this game?
Wow. Homes being broken.
Yes.
Guys going, stabbing each other in the back. I don't know anything about that, but I'd love to hear that. I'm all about that drama and gossip and hearsay for sure.
I'll look into it. I'll see what I can create.
But speaking of, if we want to throw some rumors out there, we did have a Discord user share something. His username is 12RDB. We've quoted him before here. He shared some notes, which he claims it was from a Twitter user that said the Twitter user claimed he listened or was listening in on an internal Microsoft email and was able to have the high-level notes, which said that Call of Duty, it's just kind of like the future of Call of Duty after Microsoft takes over. His high-level gossip here, again, unfounded.
This is gossip. This is what I'm talking about. This sounds good.
Well, it's kind of dry, like you said, but he said Call of Duty is going to remain a 4-person competitive game. Multiplayer will still remain, standalone games will be paid for. It'll remain a boots-on-the-ground title. It'll, the Call of Duty...
What does that mean? What does that mean, boots-on-the-ground title?
I think, not getting into crazy space shit or more...
Oh, it's grounded. Got it.
Yeah, it's more
Literally,
like military sim, no rocket packs and shit, which they did, they played around with that on the Modern Warfare Advanced Warfare game, which we never speak of.
Why, was it shitty? I never played it.
I never played it, but when I saw the preview, that was when I'm like, I'm not buying this fucking game. And from what I've heard, although it seems to be a hot button topic, some people vehemently defend it, and 90% of people that was the worst Call of Duty ever. But anyways, the other rumor is that the Call of Duty League will dissolve and Major League Gaming will return for Call of Duty competitive in 2023. They're
So that's our next career path is I'm sure we'll get invited to that, right?
Yeah. This whole ranked system we said's coming to Vanguard. We'll just hop on that and make our names for ourselves and work our way up to the big leagues.
Yeah. Also, I'm just gonna do some shameless self-promotion here. If we're open to announcing these types of tournaments, right, Tron? Like if we got an invite to announce like the Call of Duty World Series, yeah, we could be commentators on that. Why haven't we gotten those offers yet?
I can say with all the assurance in my heart and soul that if we ever got the opportunity to commentate a Call of Duty competitive event, that we would blow it out of the water. And I'm not one to toot my own horn, but I just feel like we would have that, the play-by-play guy and the color guy, and like we would bring that to the table.
Oh, 100%. I mean, this is, and just to peel the curtain back for you, we don't edit this pod. This is a one-take masterpiece once a week that we do. Like, there's no, let's talk about that again. Oh, wait, no, I have to edit that out. No. We hit record. We fucking go. You put me in front of a live audience. Maybe make it NC-17, but it's going to be fucking great.
We shoot from the hip.
Yes, exactly. But what were you talking about? 'Cause, before I completely interrupted and sidetracked that, could be a problem for us when we're commentating. But
Call of Duty tournaments, all that it's done through a thing called the Call of Duty League, which is like its own kind of organization. There's all the professional teams. There's Optic, FaZe, all those teams. They compete in like.
Does Microsoft own that now too?
I don't know exactly, but apparently it's going to move back to Major League Gaming, which is kind of more of a larger organization that does other games tournaments, and there's other organizations. They also claim that Call of Duty will have a universal ranked system that will follow you throughout each Call of Duty release. They are claiming that Major League Gaming also will go back to console only for Call of Duty, as opposed to being open to PC. And they also alluded to what Bloomberg touched on. They claim that Call of Duty 23, the game will go to a 2 to 3 year game cycle. So maybe this rumor pool, at first when I heard it, I'm like, this is all bullshit, but some of this stuff's coming out to be true.
Yeah, I mean, when was this? Is this a recent email?
This was, again, posted in our Discord last week, and they claimed it was from an internal Microsoft email.
Gotcha. Okay.
So they also, though, claim that skill-based matchmaking will be removed and replaced by a newer format starting with Call of Duty 2023, and that remakes and remasters will no longer be focused, and they plan to have Call of Duty develop new titles.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, so this is basically just reaffirming what we already talked about, right?
I mean, in hindsight,
this Bloomberg article.
A lot of it. Yeah, so I got to say, I just, I wrote it off, although I did come back and comment back to this gentleman, 12RDB, after I heard the Bloomberg thing that, hey, Bloomberg's saying some of this stuff might be true, especially the spacing out the releases.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, cool. Confirmation at last. What else? I hear little Tron in the background.
Yeah, he's getting upset. But that said, we're going to wrap it up with a tweet that we got this week from Jay Horton 21. It said, I wish you guys did a kill of the week for the podcast, where you tell a short story of your kill that stood out, maybe a snipe, or you took 3 guys down. They love gameplay stories, and they love the podcast.
Wow. I wish that I had a story of taking 3 guys down. I haven't actually accomplished that feat yet. What about you?
That was my initial thought, too. Like, damn, that would be a cool story to tell if I had taken down 3. Not off the top of my head. As I told this individual, we might not have this be a weekly thing, but it's going to be on my mind now. If I have a cool moment, I'm going to maybe get my little crayons out and journal that up, and then regale our audience with that tale when we next record.
That sounds nice. It makes me happy thinking about you writing your thoughts down in crayons. But I went back. I've been back on the sniper the last couple of weeks, and the sniper's so hit or miss. Sometimes you're feeling it, and sometimes you're whiffing it. This last week, I feel like I was whiffing it, so I don't think I have too many snipe stories. certainly no collaterals to end a game like our old friend did. I forgot who did that, but that Reginald was it? He did it in our competitive match that we had with all the listeners. Nothing like that. Yeah, shit, I feel like I've been playing with such sweaty people, they get all the cool stories. I'm just kind of there staying alive in case they die, you know what I mean?
Oh, from what I hear when I play, you're always setting up the kills, you know? Oh,
I do, actually. Yeah, that is something I do. You know, you steal a lot of my kills. It's crazy. You know what? I'm going to post one of those games to YouTube, and from my perspective, people see.
You know, whenever I do that, what I hear from you is finish your kills. So I'm going to just repeat that right back to you there, Cowboy.
Well, sometimes I don't finish my kills because I get killed. And then what happens is I've like completely damaged this individual. You've been hiding around the corner waiting for me to die and inflict as much damage as possible. And then you turn the corner and steal a kill. That's how it works.
I look forward to seeing that gameplay get released. But in the meantime, we're going to keep an eye out for any cool moments. Regale on the podcast, we'll share the clips also on YouTube. That said, been sharing the wins of the week on our Patreon. Been loving the support we're seeing on Twitter, on YouTube. So keep it up. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, comment, share the podcast far and wide. As you saw here, you send us a question. You know, a lot of times we'll address it on here. Or if you work for Activision and you got details on Warzone 2, like, let us know.
Or if you work for Call of Duty League and need like some main headlining commentators, let us know.
Or a smaller tournament. I don't care.
Or a smaller tournament, whatever, we'll do it.
All right, well, that is going to do it for us this week on the Warzone Amateur Hour podcast. Thank you all so much for dropping in with us. As we said, some big news here with Warzone 2 all but confirmed for less than, potentially a year away. Got to see how that goes. Got to be exciting.
Yes, a lot of crazy, like umbrella, 30,000-foot vision changes, interesting shit happening from the altitudes high above, and it is exciting. Who knows what's going to happen next?
Indeed. So we will talk to you next week. And until then.
You couldn't have said that slower, my God. Good luck in the gulag.